Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How are you? Wait, let me see if I'm live already. How's the weekend so far? Um, yeah. Okay, looks like I'm live. Okay, now welcome back to Ask Jason Anything About Meta Ads. This is what I do every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Malaysia time. So eventually, I'm gonna answer some questions that I receive from you guys on my YouTube channel. So if you have any questions regarding Facebook ads, Meta ads, Instagram ads, actually all you need to do is, I would recommend that you start with my YouTube channel. Just go to my YouTube channel, try to search for an answer because I post over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. Probably I've answered something, some questions that is similar to the challenges that you're facing right now. So if you can find something, perfect, right? I want you to just move on to do whatever you're supposed to do, right? And if you cannot find an answer to your question, all you need to do is just type your question as a comment on any of my YouTube videos. What I'm going to do is on the following Sunday, I would actually screenshot the question posted on my YouTube channel, and I would actually answer your questions live over here. Please do not expect me to reply to you via text on the comment itself because, in my opinion, technical stuff like Facebook advertising, Meta advertising are quite technical that may not be that effective if we, converse in the written form. So I would prefer to actually reply to your comment over here, via live like this. But if you can join me live, we do this every Sunday night. Just join me live and I'll be answering questions. Just post your question in the chat itself as we are doing this. What I'll do is I'll go through all the questions that I capture on my YouTube channel and I'll come back to the questions on the chat. So if you type in anything on the chat, just stay with me until the end of it. And, I will come back to your question. We do this usually about half an hour, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes less, but it's okay. We'll just get over whatever we need to actually go through today. Okay, now let's bring up the screen over here. Okay, now, the session is called Ask Jason Anything About Meta Ads. Essentially, that's what I do. But if this is the first time you see me, I'm Jason from Malaysia. I've been doing Meta advertising for the past, I've been doing it since 2009. That's like what, 15 years now. I started as self-taught Facebook ads, running Facebook ads for my company back then when I was still employed. And since 2010, I actually started my own agency. Ever since, I've been helping brands, big and small, running ads or advising them since then until, I started training in 2016 and 2020, I went full digital on coaching and consulting. So that's what I do right now. So I work with brands from all around the world in terms of helping them to optimize their campaign. So if you're running ads and you're kind of like not sure what to do, how can you actually take your campaign to the next level? So these are the things that I do right now. Okay, so yeah. So that's what we do here. Now, this is what we do on the Sunday night. Just to answer your questions in like a quick Q&A session. But if you have something that is more serious that you want to have a one-on-one discussion with me, you can actually scan this QR code to have. This will take you to my Fiverr gig. So all you need to do is just buy me a dinner and we can actually have a 30 minutes one-on-one to discuss whatever questions you have. So yeah, so just scan this QR code and you'll be able to go over. But in case you're new to Facebook ads and you want to get started, self-taught is possible. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been helping brands to do as well. You can actually scan this QR code. This will take you to my Facebook ads masterclass. This is a 2.5-hour recorded training where I share my techniques about Facebook advertising. We cover 5 main topics. First, we talk about the strategy. I have a strategy that I've been using to guide my brands, my clients, my students, my coaching clients to run ads in a more structured way. So I would break down the framework to you, explain to you how it's set up, what are the things that you need to take care when you're actually doing exclusion, retargeting and stuff. So that's the structure. And then the next element we talked about was the audience targeting. We started with objective selection, which is essential because if you start with the wrong objective, you might end up taking the wrong audience into your funnel, which everything is going to be spoiled as well. So objective selection. Next, we talk about the audience targeting. I will share my audience targeting techniques that have been used by thousands of Facebook advertisers around, and also talk about the latest creative and copywriting trend that you should consider trying. Because I work with brands from all around the world, we have the first-hand information about what's working and what's not working. So that would actually give you some idea about what you should consider doing. And of course, the next one is about, so we talk about the audience targeting, the creative, the copywriting, and the setup. So we will have the step-by-step walkthrough in terms of how to set up the campaign. So it's like a really thorough walkthrough from the start of selection of objective until the end, the ad set part. So you will have a better understanding about how to use the ads manager and everything. And last but not least, we end with the analytics, which in my opinion, starting an ad is actually the easiest part. But how do you analyze, how do you make sense of the numbers is something that we have to practice along the way. But that we have a section specifically talking about the fundamental framework about how do you actually analyze the metrics and all. So yeah, it's a 2.5-hour training. And immediately you scan and you pay, you can start learning right away. And this is actually, this will be updated from time to time, meaning every 3 to 6 months when there are latest updates and all, I will do a refresh of that. I will re-record the whole thing and I'll put it back. So you just need to purchase once. You always have the latest version of the training. So that's the deal. All right, so that's Facebook Ads Masterclass. But in case you want to have something more special, tailored, really built for your business, this is really useful for brands that want to really, you've been running ads for a while that you can't really seem to find, stabilization in your campaign, and you want to have someone who have experience to really help you design the whole structure, the strategy, and to set it up with you so that you learn how to do that. This is the program that you can consider. It's a done with you program where we work on one-on-one. We have at least two sessions of Zoom calls where the first one we will discuss about the strategy design, what kind of creative that we should create for the top of funnel, how many top of funnel ads we need to create, how many retargeting ads we need to create. Do we want to create a drip sequential kind of retargeting ad, or we just want to create one set of retargeting ad? How do we optimize the whole thing? And that's the strategy building. And the second call is about setting up. So I will be setting up the campaign for you. So we would, share screen. I would dive into your ads manager. We would actually walk through the setup together, one step at a time. And I will actually encourage you to invite your team to join, and everything will be recorded. Consider this is like a tailored training for your business, but instead of just training, you have me to set up the whole thing for you so that you can have everything up and running, in no time. So that's really a program that I work with, very selective, and only a handful of clients every month to really have them really set up everything in the right way. So if that's something that you want to consider, scan this QR code, and then we can actually have a discussion to see whether we are a good fit to work together. If yes, then let's move on. Otherwise, at least we go get to know each other. Okay, now, a few questions that I received. Quick one, actually. I don't have a lot of very technical questions, but let's go through one by one. So the first one is coming from Westman. So, it's about boosted posts not working, probably because that's the video all about. So you say you keep getting error messages every time you try to boost. Now, first thing first, when you say error messages, you have to read carefully what is the error message, because usually Facebook is actually pretty good at telling you what's really the problem right now. Try to follow the steps. Usually the error message also come with, maybe a learn more, a button for you to click so that you can actually go to the next step and see what's happening. You just tell me error message. There are thousands of error message that could be possible here. But usually when it comes to posts not able to be boosted, it's either the payment issue, meaning you have some debt over there that you haven't paid off to Facebook, or your ad account is being restricted. These are the possibilities. Or your page is being restricted from running ads. And these are all the possibilities there. Seriously, you need to find out. Just follow the steps and try to see whether you actually reach to a point where it gives you a better explanation about what's going on. Then follow the steps. If it's account restriction, you probably want to respond to it as soon as you can. Otherwise, if you miss the deadline, you will get into permanent restriction, which is bad for your business. Okay, so follow the steps. But just in case you tried everything, you can't seem to navigate, you do not know what to do, you need somebody to come and walk through the process with you, well, you can actually consider scan this QR code. This is not a free thing. This is a paid gig where you can, buy me a dinner. Then we can have a 30-minute one-on-one discussion to go into, like, you share screen, and I will walk through the step with you to really tell you what's really happening to your ad account that is preventing you from boosting your post, and what can you do next. Now, let me be very clear upfront first. Permanent restriction, if that's the case, has no solution at the moment. I won't be able to reverse that for you. I have I do not have the power. But what I can provide is I can give you some next steps you can take, because eventually it's not really about the page that we want to keep or the profile that we want to keep or the ads account that we want to keep. What we really want is to get into running ads, advertising on Meta, on Facebook and Instagram, because that means business to a lot of us. So if that's what you want, then we can actually have a discussion on how we can plan your next step. Okay, scan this QR code and we can actually have a discussion over here. Now, the next question is coming from S at anyway. So you're asking whether is it necessary to keep the same on Facebook profile as it is in the government ID? Were there any problem in future to receive payment from Facebook? Receive payment, I would say you should consider using the same name, because there are two kind of situation, right? If you are doing something with doing business with Facebook that, like you might, let's say for your situation is you want to get payment from Facebook. Usually the profile is fine. But when you are, let's say for example, Jason Gunn is my known name, but my full name, my given name is not Jason Gunn. I have like other words in there. So, but at least I have a Gunn there, which is my surname, and everything sounds similar. So that's why I do not need to have my profile name as my given name. But when it comes to my registration in the business manager and all that, I do put in my real name so that Facebook knows that this is recognized, because I was requested to verify my ID back then. So the thing about verify ID, it was a point where one of my clients, because this is something that a lot of people do, I still do probably. Like, for example, you will create a fake profile using your company name. Like, for example, I probably will create Tribe Academy Helper, for example. And then after that, I use that account to interact with my fans and like my followers. And I use that to, run ads, for example. Now, one day, if my ID is being restricted, my profile is being restricted, they might request me to submit an ID, a government ID that has the name Tribe Academy Helper on it, which is failed, which is not possible. Like, that was what happened to one of my ex-clients as well. So yeah, they had an account totally taken off from Facebook and Instagram for 2 months, I think. That means a very, very big hit to their business, because they really rely on Facebook advertising to do that. So in my opinion, you should take care of your pages and all accounts using your own profile, which you got to protect it, all right? So back to the other way around now, if you're talking about getting paid, I think it's totally fine, because that is what happened to my YouTube as well. Yeah, my YouTube name is Jason Gunn, but the ID that I'm putting for the payment purposes for the, it's actually my given name. So that matches my ID. So I hope that gives you the idea. So yeah, I would really consider to have the name to be similar at least. Yeah, okay. Now, the next one is coming from Lily. So what I actually talk about steps to create Facebook ads for mobile apps in stores. Now, Lily is saying, you can, yes. Yeah, I actually give you some steps, explain to you how to set up a Facebook ads for mobile app installs. But you say you find they are not converting at all. Now, when it comes to advertising for mobile apps, okay, first thing first, you need to make sure that the SDK is being installed correctly, and the setup in terms of the event setup has to be done in a more, like a thorough way as well. You want to make sure that everything is set up properly. And it is not as straightforward when you're running ads for mobile apps. There are many things that we need to look into. So you say that it's not converting at all. There could be many possibilities. So if you have been running ads, I would encourage that you check whether is it a creative that is preventing people from clicking it, meaning your ad are not as straightforward, and then people are not interested in it. That's why you have very low click-through rate, or you have like an ad, you probably targeted the wrong person, the wrong audience, where they're actually not interested in your ad, or you have a misleading ad that actually hook people in with the false information or something that is not really directly related to your app itself. There are many reasons that causes an ad to not to convert. So it's better for us to dive into the numbers to find out what's working and what's not working, so that you can plan the next step, Lily. So if that's something, because to be frank, you just give me it's not working, I can't really advise you further on this, but I would recommend that if you want to have a deep dive into what's working and what's not working, Scan this QR code. This will take you to my another Fiverr gig where you can book a 30-minute with me, buy me a dinner as usual, and we can analyze your campaign. So what I do is we will do a Zoom call, screen share, yes, as usual. And I walk through the setup. First, I'll build a dashboard for your business, as in like for your e-com, for your ads manager. I'll tell you what are the metrics that you should pay attention to. So I build a dashboard for you. And then after that, I will analyze for you. So I will tell you that, look, I think this is not working, this is working and all that. I would give you a plan as well about what are the next steps that you can take. Hopefully we can get a better result for your next campaign. Because to me is whether you have a good campaign or a bad campaign, it's essential that you find out why, because that will help you take better steps, in the future campaigns. So that's what we can do. If you want to do that, scan this QR code and let's have a quick chat over there. Okay, now, next question is coming from Nat. It's about creating a TikTok business center, but next question is you want to create a post of normal content, answering viewers' comment and take care of an account like an admin on your client, okay, or your customer, your customer's TikTok account. Do you need to create a business center account? Not necessarily. Okay, I think it's very similar to Instagram, where you can just get the ID and you log in on your phone and you should be able to do that. But if you want to do it in a more proper way, I would definitely recommend to do everything in the business center account, whereby you are given access, or let's say you and your client, you are two different business entity. So you enter your client's business manager or business center as a partner, and they give you whatever access that you need to take your job, to do your job. So that's a more proper way, because eventually one day if you part ways, then you just get a client to remove you, or you can remove yourself from the account and all that, and everything is in clean slate. Otherwise, if you share account logins and all that, then you have the problem of like, you got to change password. Otherwise, the agency will still have access to it and all this. I mean, things can get a little bit more complicated. So that's something that I always like to avoid. Like I never work with my client on their business manager. I always work with them on my business manager. So your business, my business, we work together as a partner. So that's a more proper way. Yeah, I hope that answered your question. Okay, Nat, thanks for the question. Next, we have Filming Yu. Okay, now this is a very interesting question. So you're asking, there are a few questions here. So let me go through the whole thing. So first thing first, you have a dynamic creative testing ads, and you have 1.25 CTR and 2.57 CTR. So first 4 days with a low budget, okay, is it a good sign to keep going? Now, I would recommend, this is the first question, I would recommend to keep it for 7 days, okay? But if it has been very steady and all that, I think you can safely increase the budget and all that. And we have a simple framework of 20% each time. So a parent brand, which is good if you're actually getting conversion, because sometimes you see, good CTR doesn't mean good conversion. We shouldn't be just paying attention on the CTR itself. There are many metrics that we need to look into. Like, for example, if you have good CTR, but you have a very big drop-off from, like link click, or let's say outbound click to landing page view, then you probably have to look at your website loading time. And let's say you have another situation where you have very good content view, but super low add to cart. That's another problem. So we want to look at the entire framework to see entire journey, to see what's working and what's not working. Then only we consider whether we want to double down on it as well. So, like I do believe that you have your analytical eye on this thing. So that's what my recommendation is. So you're asking what is the minimum ad spend per day? There is no minimum ad spend, but I would recommend to spend at least, I wouldn't say at least, something that you're comfortable with. My recommendation to my clients is always very simple. Spend something that you're comfortable with, but of course, like following Facebook's minimum. I think Facebook's minimum is about $1 a day. So you can spend as low as $1, but you know that when you spend low, everything is going to come slow, okay? So expect that, then everything is fine. So you can take your time, doesn't matter. As long as you're comfortable. Because in my opinion, if you can't get result with a low spend, what makes you think that you can get better result when you spend more? It doesn't make sense. But the number that comes in do play a role, because the faster you reach, finish the learning, you give Facebook enough information about who are the people who are likely to take action, the faster the campaign can get stabilized. So these two things works hand in hand. So yeah, think about that. Okay. Yeah. So basically, you're talking about like on a new ad set that doesn't get enough feedback and decision to turn on and off. I usually go for 7 days data, but yeah, everybody has got their own so-called way of doing this. But in my opinion, if I'm spending low, I always give it 7 days because sometimes you have to always remember there are good times, there are bad times, and there could be just some external factors that is affecting. That's why we need a 7-day data because that would actually do the campaign a little bit more justice because combining some good days, bad days, at least we look at a 1 week data to see whether the overall performance is performing or not. And yeah, you have to always remember because advertising is always about reaching new people every day. Sometimes you reach the right ones, sometimes you reach the wrong ones, and we don't really want to make decision too quick just because of some downtimes 2 to 3 days. Frankly speaking, I've seen a lot of campaigns that they have 2 3 days downtime and the last 3 4 days they just pushed. That overall 7 days data is very satisfying. As long as the 7-day data is satisfactory, that's what I would always keep it going. But of course, we'll always find what's working and what's not working. So if that's something that you want to do, okay, especially if you're running ads, same thing. This is what I'm offering. Okay, let's take a look at the data. From times I have a lot of clients that comes back to me on Fiverr occasionally, maybe once a month or twice a month to analyze the campaign. Perfect, just do it. Just come over. All right, we can look at the data, we can look at the number, and we plan some next steps and all that, so that you know what you're doing is right or wrong. So yeah, okay. Thanks for the question. And next we have from Sachi on my video about Facebook ad strategy. Yeah, that's my latest video. So Sachi is asking the campaign objective, do I use at the top of funnel and the retargeting campaigns? It depends actually. Yeah, but if you're in e-commerce, then the retargeting definitely we usually go for catalog. But the top of funnel, it really depends on whether you want to use sales, or as in like turn on or off the catalog, or you want to go for traffic. But usually, if your e-commerce brand is more stabilized, sales is the better objective, in fact. So when it comes to objective itself, then within that we can consider whether you want to turn on and off the catalog, or whether your brand is something that worth turning on the catalog. So there are many different considerations here. I've seen an e-commerce client, they do really well with sales without converting the catalog, meaning their SKU is simpler and all that, so they have a different so-called strategy on that. I've seen some brands, most of the brands that has bigger SKU, with the catalog, we can play a lot more different strategies over there. So it really depends on the brand that you're working on right now. So yeah, that's the reason why designing a strategy based on your need is essential. And that's what I work with brands. So if that's what you want to do, then you can scan this QR code here and there, so that we can have some initial discussion about whatever your situation is, then we can plan the next step and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So that's the question. And yeah, if you need help, then you know that this is the QR code that you can scan to go to the next steps. Now, let's get back to the chat. That's all the question I have. Right. Oh, there are a few of them, right? So Akram, hi. Welcome in. Right. And Mr. and Mrs. Flo is asking, can you run video views on Facebook, then retarget viewers on conversion ads? I do not recommend. I just talk about this in my latest video because this is what a lot of people recommend. To me, people who are likely to watch video may not be the people who are likely to purchase. Here's what I want to clear about this. Because yes, Facebook do know who are the people who are likely to take certain action. That's why if you go for video view, it will always go to people who watch a lot of videos on YouTube, on Facebook, sorry. So those people who watch a lot of videos may be those people who are actually having too much time and they are not ready to buy. Watch video doesn't mean buy. Huh? So when we go for conversion or sales, then we are looking for people we're telling Facebook that we want to look for people who are likely to purchase. So Facebook would then match us with higher intent people. So that will get closer to your customer. But of course, it always depends on your product. But really, if you ask me, my quick recommendation is try not to get engagement or video view as a start. Go straight to whatever you want, like purchase, like lead and stuff. Just go for that. Okay? Right. And the next one is coming from Roy. Roy is asking, can I share about what is Meta Conversion API? How does it work and what's the true strategy to use it? Now, essentially, Conversion API is the same thing as Meta Pixel, which is the basic usage of Meta Pixel or Conversion API is to track actions that happens on your landing page or your website. And the reason why we want to track it is because we want to first attribute the conversion back to your Facebook ads campaign so that we know whether the campaign is performing or not with all the numbers coming back in. The second usage of that is for us to do retargeting. Yeah, so we want to know who are the people who landed on certain product, yet to purchase and all that. So that helps us to categorize our audiences in different category in the customer journey. Then we can actually have different kind of strategy to retarget them in terms of retargeting, that's per se. So that's the usage. So they are the same thing, and it's advisable to implement both on your website because Pixel is on the browser level kind of, like cache-based kind of, mechanism whereby the conversion API is installed on your server level. So these two are redundant, but it's really meant for redundant because if one point is not firing, at least the other point is backing it up. And the whole system is already very matured in terms of really helping you to capture all the data as much as you can. So that's the reason why you need to have it. Okay, Roy, thanks for the question. And yeah, and Akram is saying you can do this for sure, but yeah, like Akram, like I think I answered the question. Okay, now, do you feel Meta is trying to push Advantage Plus targeting? They're always trying to push anything Advantage Plus, but I don't really use that because I do have my own control that I want to have on the campaign. So they're always trying to push anything Advantage Plus. Yeah, they're always trying to push. Yeah, they're not removing manual targeting options. It's hidden. You just have to find it out. It's down at the bottom and say, I want to set back to the original settings. So it's always there. Okay, and Mr. and Mrs. Flo say your service a graphic design. I think graphic design, you should go very straightforward and say that, if you want graphic design help, come and talk to us. Yeah, but Mr. and Mrs. Flo, try to set up the ad and let's analyze the campaign. You saw the QR code here and there, right? Scan that so that we can analyze the campaign. I can give you some recommendations about what you can do to try to hopefully improve your campaign. Okay, and yeah, Roy, no problem. Thank you. And Akram, no problem. Yeah, my pleasure as usual to really help you guys. So that's what we do. All right, I guess that's all the question I have. And even on the chat side, thanks for joining me tonight. And as usual, next week we're going to come back. If you have any questions, post them on my YouTube videos. And there's a comment. I'll pick it up. Otherwise, come and join me next week, same time, so that we can, like in chat and answer questions and learn together. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thanks, Roy, Akram, and Mr. and Mrs. Flo, and everyone who's watching this, whether you're watching the replay. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Good night. Bye.